Ilhan Omar walked into the Capitol ready to destroy Ben Shapiro on live television, but she just made the fatal mistake of handing the microphone to the one man who brought the exact audio recordings, proving her words painted a target on an 18-year-old girl's dorm room door. Ilhan Omar's pointing finger was raised. Her iPhone was vibrating face down on the dais beside her water glass. Ben Shapiro, sitting 3 rows below her in the witness chair, wearing a navy suit with no necktie and a black yarmulke pinned at the crown of his head, had just slowed his cadence. The machine gun rhythm at which he had spoken for 93 minutes slowed to the rhythm of a man delivering 9 words he had been carrying since the morning of October 9th, 2023. Madam Congresswoman, you didn't throw the bricks, you painted the targets. The room froze. The phone on the dais vibrated again. Omar reached for it. Her hand stopped halfway. The phone vibrated a third time. She did not pick it up. In the third row of the observer's seats, seat 4, sat a 39-year-old internal medicine physician named Dr. Moore Toledano Shapiro. She had been holding her wedding band in her left hand for the entire morning. She did not move. In the fourth row, seat 7, sat a 51-year-old rabbi named David Edelman of Beth Jacob Congregation in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. He had not opened the single sheet of paper folded in his suit pocket. He did not need to. If you have ever waited, really waited, for an elected member of the United States Congress to be looked in the eye, on the record, on C-SPAN, and asked to explain how her words ended up on the wall of a synagogue on the morning after October 7th, smash that like button right now. Because it just happened in the United States Capitol in broad daylight, and nobody in that room was ready for what Ben Shapiro played on his phone next. The setup, Rayburn House Office Building, room 2175. The principal hearing room of the House Committee on Education and the Workforce was not where this was supposed to happen. The hearing had been called by Chairman Tim Walberg, Republican of Michigan, for 1:00 on the morning of Wednesday, March 18, 2026. The title on the committee agenda read Confronting Campus Antisemitism, a Federal Title VI Review, and the Public Conduct of Members of Congress. The committee had scheduled 3 expert witnesses. The first 2, university administrators, would deliver routine prepared statements. The third witness was a 42-year-old Orthodox Jewish attorney from Nashville, Tennessee, named Benjamin Aaron Shapiro. Daily Wire founder, Harvard Law class of 2007, author of 17 nonfiction books, most recently Lions and Scavengers, released in October of 2025. The reason the hearing existed in this room on this morning was a chain of 3 events that had become impossible for the committee to keep ignoring: October 7, 2023, April 25, 2024, September 10, 2025. The first date was the morning Hamas attacked Israel, and an estimated 2,747 verified anti-Semitic incidents began their cascade across American college campuses. The second was the date Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota stood on a public sidewalk outside Columbia University in front of 3 cell phone cameras and divided Jewish American 18-year-olds into 2 categories: pro-genocide and anti-genocide. The third was the morning a 31-year-old conservative activist named Charlie Kirk was assassinated on the campus of Utah Valley University, and Representative Omar reposted a video on her social media accounts describing him as a stochastic terrorist whose monster shot him through the neck. 6 months later, in March of 2026, Chairman Walberg gave this hearing to order. Representative Omar was on the dais because Representative Nancy Mace's resolution to strip her of her committee assignments. House Resolution 713 had failed on the floor of the United States House of Representatives on the 17th of September, 2025, by a vote of 214 to 213. 4 Republicans had crossed the aisle to save her. She had kept her seat on education and the workforce. 6 months later, she would use it. She walked into Rayburn 2175 at 9:54 inches the morning. She wore a deep teal Aori pants suit, a white silk hijab, and a gold pin from her late grandmother. She placed her iPhone on the dais face down. It was the standard professionalism of a member who had been on this committee since 2021. She did not check it. The phone, on its silent setting, was set to vibrate. At 1001, Chairman Wahlberg gave the hearing to order. At 1014, she made the mistake that ended her. The opening statements. Chairman Wahlberg's voice was even. He had been a Methodist minister for 14 years. Before he came to Congress, he did not change for cameras. The committee is now in session. The chair recognizes the witness, Mr. Benjamin Shapiro, for a 5-minute opening statement. Ben Shapiro stood up. He wore a dark navy suit, no necktie, a kippah at the crown of his head pinned with a small bobby pin his wife had given him on the morning of his Harvard Law graduation in 2007. He placed his iPhone face down on the witness table and connected it via a thin auxiliary cable to the committee's audiovisual system, which the staffer Jeremy Kahn had set up for him at 7:00 that morning. He did not stand at the lectern, he sat. A witness sits. He spoke at the rhythm at which he had spoken on his podcast for 10 years, fast, dense, declarative. Except for the first sentence, which he delivered slowly enough for the C-SPAN microphones to catch every syllable. Mr. Chairman, Pirkei Avot Chapter 2, Verse 5, be chassid in your actions, but never assume the role of judge over a fellow's heart. I am not here this morning to judge any heart in this room. I am here to look at a record. He picked up the pace. Daily Wire News has documented 2,847 verified anti-Semitic incidents on American college campuses since the morning of October 7, 2023. Columbia University, 411 incidents. Harvard, 326. The University of Pennsylvania, 288. Northwestern, 194. NYU, 183. UCLA, 168. Cornell, 161. Berkeley, 147. The University of Michigan, 138. The University of Wisconsin-Madison, 133. The University of Minnesota Twin Cities, in the Gentlewoman's Home District, ladies and gentlemen, 124. A pause. Sitting behind me in row 4 of the observer seats, seat 7, is Rabbi David Edelman of Beth Jacob Congregation in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. Beth Jacob has 850 member families. On the morning of October 9, 2023, 48 hours after Hamas's attacks on the State of Israel, 6 of Beth Jacob's stained glass windows were broken with bricks. Red spray paint on the parking lot read, quote, "From the river to the sea," end quote. A note taped to the front door of the synagogue contained a single quoted line. The line was from a tweet posted on the 10th of February, 2019, by Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. He did not name the line. I yield the rest of my time, Mr. Chairman, with one question for the record. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, passed by this body in the chamber 200 yards from this room, protects every American citizen from discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin in any program receiving federal financial assistance. Title VI did not exempt Jewish students from its protection. Ladies and gentlemen, I yield. He set his hands flat on the witness table. 43 seconds remained on his time. Chairman Wahlberg recognized 2 members. Representative Burgess Owens of Utah, Black Republican, former NFL safety, Super Bowl champion, the only player from the Oakland Raiders, 1,976 championship team, currently serving in the United States Congress, asked Mr. Shapiro about his September 14, 2017 speech at the University of California, Berkeley, where the city of Berkeley spent $600,000 on police security. Representative Bobby Scott of Virginia, the senior Democrat on the committee, asked a procedural question about Title VI enforcement mechanisms in the Department of Education. Then Chairman Wahlberg said the words that started everything. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Minnesota, Miss Omar, for 5 minutes. The counterattack. She did not stand. She used her dais microphone. Mr. Shapiro, with respect, sir, though I will note for the record that I am running short of it this morning, I want to begin by acknowledging the absurdity of this proceeding. She picked up a yellow pencil. She did not write with it, she held it. I am a sitting member of this committee. I have been an elected member of the United States Congress for 7 years. I came to this country at the age of 12, sir, as a refugee from a refugee camp called Dadaab in Kenya. My mother died of malaria in Mogadishu when I was 2 years old. My father, a teacher in the city of Mogadishu before the warlords, raised me in a one-bedroom apartment in Cedar Riverside in Minneapolis, Minnesota, on the wages of a New York hotel doorman. I am statistically, sir, not supposed to be in this room. She raised her finger. And we are here this morning on the test. A man whose Twitter feed was checked by police evidence 93 times by the gunman who walked into the Quebec City Islamic Cultural Center on the evening of January 29, 2017, and murdered 6 of my Muslim brothers at evening prayer. Police evidence, Mr. Shapiro, not opinion. Public record testimony, the Court of Quebec, in the matter of Alexandre Bissonnette. A pause. You wrote, sir, in 2011 inches the Jerusalem Post, a publication you contributed to that year, that I quote, half of American Jewry are Jews in name only, end quote, because, in your words, they vote Democrat. You are not the arbiter, Mr. Shapiro, of who is Jewish. You are the arbiter of who is profitable to your podcast. Your wife, Dr. Mortoledano, sitting in row 3 behind you, is, as you have proudly noted in your memoir, a citizen of the State of Israel. The American taxpayer's relationship to the State of Israel is the relationship of a husband to a wife. The American taxpayer is not permitted to question, sir, without being called an anti-Semite. I am called an anti-Semite for asking questions. You are called a patriot for refusing to answer them. Donald Trump is a fascist. The American people, in their wisdom, in their fatigue, in their fear, elected a fascist. Charlie Kirk, and may his family find peace, sir. May they find every peace this country can offer, built a movement that by every metric available to us simplified complex socio-economic issues by demonizing outgroups. I expressed sympathy for his family on the 11th of September 2025. I will not this morning on the record of this committee pretend that the movement he led was anything other than what it was. She turned. She faced Rabbi Edelman, and I will not pretend, sir, that the rabbi seated in row 4, however legitimate his grief, speaks for the Jewish community of the state of Minnesota, the majority of which, by the polling I have seen, voted for me in November of 2024. 81% of the Jewish voters in Hennepin County, Mr. Shapiro, cast their ballots for me. 81%. The numbers do not lie. A long pause. I yield back the balance of my time, Mr. Chairman. I will reserve 5 additional minutes for follow-up after the witness's response. She placed the yellow pencil flat on the dais. She did not look at her phone. The phone had not vibrated yet. The audio evidence. Chairman Wahlberg looked at Mr. Shapiro. The witness has 5 minutes. Ben Shapiro picked up his iPhone. He set it on the witness table. He did not unlock it. The screen was face up now. Madam Congresswoman, with respect, and I do mean it, ma'am, I'd like to take some of what you said and not fight you on it. Machine gun pace. I did write Jews in name only in 2011. I was 27 years old. I was wrong. I have walked it back in 15 years of public commentary, including in writing in 2015, 2017, 2021, and 2023. I would not write that today. The Quebec City shooting was a horror beyond words. Alexandre Bissonnette was a monster. The fact that he checked my Twitter feed before that night does not place my hand on the trigger. Only his own hand did that. I will not, however, dispute the public record that he checked my account 93 times. I am not above accountability, Madam Congresswoman. I have frankly sat with that piece of court testimony for 9 years. He paused. But ma'am, and I want to be careful here. You accused me a moment ago of profiting from the demonization of Muslim women. So I would like, with the chair's permission, to do something I have not seen this committee do this morning. I would like to play into the record of this hearing an audio clip. He turned to Wahlberg. Mr. Chairman, may I? Wahlberg, the chair grants permission. Shapiro tapped his iPhone screen. The committee's audiovisual system carried the sound clearly into Rayburn 2175. It was Ilhan Omar's voice. A tweet read aloud by her own staff on her 2019 campaign Twitter account, archived publicly on the platform. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. 12 words. 11 seconds. Read in her own voice. The audio stopped. Shapiro spoke into the silence. Madame Congresswoman, that is not me. That is you. February 10, 2019. The Benjamins is a reference to the United States $100 bill, ma'am, which carries the portrait of Benjamin Franklin. The phrase all about the Benjamins is in colloquial American English, a phrase about money. The reference, ma'am, in the context of your tweet, which I have here on my phone, was to the influence of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Money, Israel, Benjamins. The trope is 2,000 years old. The Roman historian Tacitus wrote a version of it in the 1st century of the Common Era. He paused. On the 7th of March, 2019, ma'am, this body, the United States House of Representatives, passed House Resolution 183. The resolution condemned antisemitism. The vote was 407 to 23. 173 Democrats voted yes. The resolution was passed because of your words, Madam Congresswoman. Not Steve King S. Not Marjorie Taylor Greene S. Yours. From the gentlewoman's own Twitter account, February 10, 2019, he tapped the screen again. Now, Mom, with the chair's permission, I would like to play one more clip. Wahlberg granted. The audio that came out of the committee speakers was Omar's voice, recorded at the Council on American Islamic Relations annual fundraiser at the Hilton Los Angeles Universal City on the evening of March 23rd. Public event recorded by C-SPAN Public Record. CAIR was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties. 18 seconds. Shapiro spoke before the silence had time to settle. Some people did something. 6 words. Madam Congresswoman. About 2,977 dead Americans. 3 of those Americans were Muslims. 22 of them were children, under the age of 16. 343 of them were members of the fire department of the city of New York. 41 were members of the New York Police Department. 55 were Department of Defense personnel at the Pentagon. 40 were the passengers and crew of United Flight 93 over Shanksville, Pennsylvania, who fought their way into a cockpit, so the United States Capitol, this building, ma'am, 200 yards from this room, would not be the 4th target on the morning of September 11, 2001. A pause. He slowed. Ma'am, I am not here to indict your refugee story. I am the great-grandson of refugees from a town called Mwawa in central Poland. My great-grandmother Anna Shapiro died at Treblinka in October of 1942 with 8 of her cousins. We share, ma'am, you and I, a refugee inheritance. I will defend your inheritance with my last breath. He paused. But the inheritance, Madam Congresswoman, comes with a duty. The duty is precision. Some people did something is not refugee speech. Some people did something is impunity speech. There is a moral difference between the two. He set the phone down. I yield, Mr. Chairman. 48 seconds remained on his time. The phone vibrated on Ilhan Omar's dais. She did not pick it up. Stop. Did you just hear that? Ilhan Omar, who has stood on the floor of this Congress for 7 years, calling Republicans every name available to the English language for what they have allegedly done, just heard her own voice played into the United States congressional record by a witness from his iPhone. About 2,977 dead Americans on the morning of September 11, 2001. If that just hit you the way it hit me, drop one comment below. Type the words, "Some people did something." SOMEPEOPLE, did something. 6 words about 2,977 dead Americans from the woman now serving on the House Committee on Education and the Workforce. comment some people did something now, then come back, because what Mr. Shapiro is about to play next is going to make the first 10 minutes look like a warm-up, the campaign finance revelation. Omar's voice came back into her dais microphone. Mr. Chairman, I am reclaiming my time. Wahlberg, Madam Congresswoman, the witness was responding to your question. Under House Rule 11, Clause 2, subparagraph J. And I have the rule book open in front of me, ma'am. The chair has discretion to permit responsive testimony to complete a citation. Mr. Shapiro has yielded. You are recognized for follow-up, ma'am. Omar's pencil moved an inch on the dais. Mr. Shapiro, I would like to ask you about the financial structure of Daily Wire Media. Your media company is, by public record, financed by the Wilkes brothers, Dan and Ferris Wilkes of Cisco, Texas, who are oil and gas billionaires. I want to know, sir, how a media organization funded by oil and gas billionaires can claim the moral authority to. She did not get to finish. Shapiro answered the financial question with a financial document. Madam Congresswoman, the financial structure of Daily Wire Media is on the public record. Securities and Exchange Commission filings. The company has private investors disclosed under Regulation D, the State of Tennessee Corporate Registry, the Federal Election Commission disclosures for Daily Wire's separate political action committee. All of it, ma'am, is public. All of it is audited by KPMG. None of it, ma'am, and I want to underline this is paid to a member of my immediate family who is also a campaign vendor. His pace did not change. But since the gentlewoman has raised the question of campaign finance, ma'am, I would like to address yours. He picked up the phone again. He did not play audio, he read. On the public record of the Federal Election Commission, ma'am, committee filings for Ilhan for Congress, committee identification number C006800930, available to any American citizen on a federal government website. Your campaign committee paid the firm of E Street Group, LLC, $2,780,000 during the calendar year cycle of 2020. E Street Group, LLC was at that time a Washington, D.C. political consulting firm. The senior partner of the firm was a man named Timothy Minette. A pause. Mr. Minette, ma'am, is your husband as of March of 2020. As of this morning, he did not raise his voice. In April of 2019, ma'am, 11 months before your marriage, Mr. Minette's first wife, Dr. Beth Minette of Washington, D.C., filed for divorce in the Superior Court of the District of Columbia, Civil Action Number 19-DR 893. In her filing, Madame Congresswoman public court record available to any American at the courthouse on the corner of Indiana Avenue and 6th Street Northwest in this city this morning, Dr. Minette alleged her husband returned home in April of 2019 and made what she called a, quote, shocking declaration of love, end quote, for you. A breath. In the same month, Mom, your campaign committee began reimbursing Mr. Minette's firm for travel expenses. The reimbursement totaled $21,547 over the calendar year of 2019. FEC records. Public. On the 17th of November 2020, after the matter became public, your campaign terminated the contract with Mr. Minette's firm. By that time, ma'am, your committee had paid E Street Group $2,780,000. $2.78 million, ma'am. Approximately 50 cents of every dollar your campaign dispersed during that election cycle. Half of every dollar a working person in Cedar Riverside, Minnesota sent your campaign to fight oligarchy in Washington was paid that year to a political consulting firm in which your husband held a majority equity stake. He paused. In October of 2025, 6 months ago, ma'am, the Wall Street Journal reported that the financial disclosures you filed for the calendar year of 2024 valued Mr. Minette's two private companies, a winery in California called EST Crew, and a venture capital firm registered in the state of Delaware called Rose Lake Capital, at between $6 million and $30 million. You then amended the disclosure, ma'am, to claim that the joint household assets of you and Mr. Minette were in fact between $18,004 and $95,000, From 30 million to 95,000 inches, a single amended filing. Your office told the journal, Ma-Am, that the original valuation was, quote, an error, end quote, and blamed your accountant. He set the phone down. When a Lindell TV reporter asked you on camera in the third week of October of 2025 to clarify the discrepancy, Ma-Am, you said, quote, I think you re-stupid for asking me anything, end quote. Public record. On video. A pause. Madame Congresswoman, I went to Harvard Law School. If a Harvard Law School student told a member of the bar he thought she was stupid for asking him a question about a $30 million discrepancy on a federal financial disclosure, the bar would request his presence in person within 30 days. The Federal Election Commission's Office of General Counsel does not work on a 30-day clock, Ma-Am. They work on a 30-month clock. But they do work. He paused. I yield, Mr. Chairman. The phone on Ilhan Omar's dais vibrated twice. She did not pick it up. The real cost of words. Ilhan Omar stood up. She stood up because she was Ilhan Omar. And Ilhan Omar did not lose. She had not lost a televised confrontation with a Republican commentator in 7 years. She did not believe she was going to lose this one. Mr. Shapiro, she raised her finger. I am the first Somali American to serve in this Congress. I came to this country in 1995 at the age of 12 with my father and my older brother, after 4 years in the Dadaab refugee camp on the Somali-Kenyan border. My mother died of malaria when I was 2 years old in Mogadishu, in the year of the warlord Mohammed Aidid. My father, a teacher of high school history before the war, raised me alone. We did not have running water in our apartment in Cedar Riverside until I was 15 years old. We did not have a working telephone until I was 16. I have, since 2019, made mistakes in language. I have, sir, apologized for some of them. I will not apologize for others. I have lived a life that by every statistical metric available to social science was not supposed to lead me to a dais on this committee floor today. I am here. I am sitting in this seat. I am asking you, sir. I, Ilhan Abdullahi Omar, daughter of Nur Saeed and Faduma Abukar, born on the 4th of October 1982 inches, the city of Mogadishu, whether the precision of language I used at the age of 36, freshly elected to this body, is the metric by which a country built on the labor of refugees should now judge an American legislator. She paused. Her voice was steady. If you are asking me, Mr. Shapiro, whether I should have used different words on the morning of February 10th, 2019, yes, I should have. I was wrong. I have said so. The House voted on House Resolution 183. I voted for the resolution. I voted to censure my own conduct, Mr. Shapiro. I am not asking you to forget that I made the mistake. I am asking you to remember that I voted for the resolution that condemned it. 8 seconds of silence. Wahlberg did not gavel. She had landed it. Shapiro did not interrupt the 8 seconds. When he spoke, he was at half his usual cadence. Madam Congresswoman, I have heard you. Ma-Am, the refugee story counts. The mother who died in Mogadishu counts. Dadaab counts. Cedar Riverside, without running water, at age 15 counts. The vote you cast on the 7th of March 2019 on House Resolution 183, Ma-Am, it counts. It does. I will not pretend it does not. He paused. But there is a date I have to ask you about, and it is not 1995. It is not February 10th, 2019. It is April 25th, 2024. He picked up the phone. Mr. Chairman, with the chair's permission, I would like to play one final clip. Wahlberg granted. The audio came out of the committee speakers. It was Ilhan Omar's voice, recorded by reporters on the public sidewalk outside the gates of Columbia University on a clear spring afternoon 23 months earlier. Public event, public record, 11 seconds. All Jewish kids should be kept safe, and we should not have to tolerate antisemitism or bigotry for all Jewish students, whether they are pro-genocide or anti-genocide. The audio stopped. Omar listened to her own voice. She did not move. Her hands started to reach for her phone. The hands stopped at the edge of the dais. Shapiro spoke. pro-genocide and anti-genocide Jewish students. You divided Jewish American, 8-year-olds, Ma-am, on a public sidewalk in Manhattan, on a clear spring afternoon, in your own voice, into two camps. The pro-genocide camp, the anti-genocide camp, a breath. And Madam Congresswoman, sitting in row 4, seat 7 behind me, is Rabbi David Edelman of Beth Jacob Congregation. His daughter, Sarah Edelman, was a freshman at Columbia University on the afternoon of April 25, 2024. She was in John J. Hall. She was 18 years old, pre-med major. She was the granddaughter of a man named Rabbi Solomon Edelman, of blessed memory, who walked out of Auschwitz on the morning of the 27th of January, 1945 at the age of 11. He paused. Within 72 hours of your statement on that sidewalk, Ma-am, Sarah Edelman was identified by name on a Columbia University Telegram channel. The channel had 4,200 subscribers. As a, quote, pro-genocide Zionist target, end quote. Attached to that post was a photograph of her dorm room door at John J. Hall. The door number was visible. The photograph was taken by an unidentified individual, Ma-am, from the hallway outside her bedroom. Sarah Edelman moved out of John J. Hall on the 28th of April, 2024. She finished her freshman spring semester from her parents' home in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. She is no longer at Columbia, Ma-am. She is at Yeshiva University in Washington Heights, the same institution at which her grandfather, Rabbi Solomon Edelman of blessed memory, took his ordination at the age of 23 after surviving Theresienstadt, Auschwitz, and the typhus epidemic of the spring of 1945. 3 seconds, 3 generations, Ma-am. Mwawa, Theresienstadt, Auschwitz, Treblinka. And then a Columbia University freshman dorm room door in the spring semester of 2024, because you said 3 words, Ma-am, on a sidewalk in front of 3 cell phone cameras, pro-genocide Jewish students. He set the phone on the witness table, screen down. I yield, Mr. Chairman. The phone on Ilhan Omar's dais vibrated 3 times in succession. She picked it up, looked at the screen, set it back down, face down. She did not lift it again. If a freshman pre-med Jewish student deserves a dorm room without a target painted on her door, share this video right now to one person, right now. Your daughter, your grandfather, the neighbor at synagogue on Saturday morning, the friend who fasts on Yom Kippur, one person, right now. Then come back, because the rabbi from St. Louis Park has not yet taken the witness chair, and what he has come 3,000 miles to say is going to break a piece of this room that nobody in it expected to be broken. The rabbi's testimony. Chairman Wahlberg looked down at his agenda. The chair calls Rabbi David Edelman of Beth Jacob Congregation, St. Louis Park, Minnesota, to the witness table. Rabbi David Edelman stood up from row 4. He was 51 years old. He wore a charcoal suit and a small lapel pin in the shape of the talit, the prayer shawl Jewish men have worn for 2,000 years. He walked the 8 steps from row 4 to the witness table. He sat in the chair to Ben Shapiro's right. He did not look at Ilhan Omar. The clerk swore him in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. His hand did not shake. Wahlberg, Rabbi Edelman, you are recognized for 2 minutes for an opening statement. Rabbi Edelman did not have notes. He had folded a sheet of paper into his suit pocket the previous night. He had not opened it. Mr. Chairman, members of this committee, my name is Rabbi David Edelman. I am the senior rabbi of Beth Jacob Congregation in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. We have 850 member families. I am a 3rd-generation American rabbi. My grandfather, Rabbi Aaron Edelman, of blessed memory, served Beth Israel Congregation in Chicago, Illinois, from 1948 to 1972. My father, Rabbi Solomon Edelman, of blessed memory, served Beth Jacob Congregation in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, from 1968 to 2019. My father, Rabbi Solomon, was born in the town of Mwawa in central Poland in the year 1934. He was 9 years old when he, his mother, and his younger sister Rachel were transported to the camp at Theresienstadt. He was 10 when they were transported to Auschwitz. He was 11 on the morning of the 27th of January, 1945, when soldiers of the 60th Army of the 1st Ukrainian Front of the Red Army, under the command of Colonel Vasily Petrenko, entered Auschwitz concentration camp number 2, known to history as Birkenau. My father walked out alive. His mother did not. His sister did not. He was the only member of his immediate family to survive. He paused. He did not raise his voice. On the morning of October 9, 2023, at 4:47 a.m. Central Time, 48 hours after Hamas attacks on the State of Israel, 6 of the stained glass windows of Beth Jacob congregation were broken. Bricks. Real bricks, Mr. Chairman, of the kind a man can pick up at any building site in Hennepin County. From the river to the sea and red spray paint on our parking lot. A note taped to our front door contained one quoted line. The line was from a tweet posted on the 10th of February, 2019. 2 suspects were arrested by the St. Louis Park Police Department on the 11th of October, 2023. Both pleaded guilty in February of 2025. One of them, sir, a 28-year-old man named Ethan Carter, had reposted on his Instagram account 3 weeks before the attack the audio you played into the record this morning, Mr. Shapiro. The audio of Some People Did Something. Public exhibit, sir, Federal District Court of the District of Minnesota. My daughter Sarah was a freshman at Columbia University on the afternoon of April 25, 2024. She was 18. She was pre-med. Within 72 hours of the Congresswoman's statement on the sidewalk outside the Columbia gates, my daughter was identified by name in a Telegram channel with 4,200 subscribers as a pro-genocide Zionist target. Attached to the post was a photograph of her dorm room door with the room number visible. Sarah moved out of John J. Hall on the 28th of April. She is at Yeshiva University now. I am proud of her. Her grandfather, of blessed memory, would be prouder. His mother, my grandmother, of whom I have only one photograph taken in Wawawa in 1936 when she was 26 years old, would be the proudest of all. A long pause. The room was silent. Madame Congresswoman, I am not asking for an apology. I am not asking for your resignation. I am not asking for money. I have never asked for money. I am asking, and I am asking only this, that the next time a member of the United States House of Representatives stands on a public sidewalk in the city of New York and says the words pro-genocide Jewish students, she remember that the words on a public sidewalk in New York do not stay on the sidewalk. They travel. They travel to Telegram. They travel to John J. Hall. They travel to a freshman dorm room door. And Madam Congresswoman, they travel to a synagogue parking lot in Street, Louis Park, Minnesota, on the morning of the 9th of October, 2023. My father survived 3 camps before he was 11 years old, ma'am. He spent the rest of his life rebuilding what was taken from him. We do not have the luxury in this country, in this generation, of forgetting that the words we use today are read tomorrow by a man with a brick. That is all I came to say. Mr. Chairman, I yield. Ilhan Omar tried to speak. Mr. Chairman, I object. Wahlberg gavelled once. Madame Congresswoman, the witness has not finished. I am finished, Mr. Chairman, Rabbi Edelman said. Then the chair excuses Rabbi Edelman with the gratitude of this committee. The phone on the dais vibrated twice. Omar did not look. If Sarah Edelman deserves a dorm room without a target painted on her door, share this video right now to one person. Your daughter. The friend who lights the Sabbath candles at sundown. The mother who taught you the Shema. One person, right now. The Democrats' defect. Chairman Wahlberg looked down at his agenda. The chair recognizes, on a point of personal privilege, concurrent with the jurisdiction of this committee, the gentleman from the state of Missouri, Congressman Wesley Bell, for 1 minute. Representative Wesley Bell stood up from the 3rd row of the observer seats. He was 50 years old. He was black. He wore a charcoal gray suit and a small American flag pin, and he was holding in his left hand a small worn leather Bible his late grandmother had given him in Florissant, Missouri, in the summer of 991. He did not look at Shapiro. He did not look at Omar. He looked at Tim Walberg. Mr. Chairman, thank you, sir, for the privilege of speaking. I am a Democrat. I represent the 1st Congressional District of the state of Missouri, South Street, Louis. Parts of the city of Street, Louis County, the city of Florissant, the city of Hazelwood, the city of Ferguson. I was sworn into the United States Congress on the 3rd of January, 2025. I am here this morning, Mr. Chairman, on a point of personal privilege because I have been in this room for 93 minutes, and I have decided that I cannot leave it without saying what I am about to say. He paused. In August of 2024, I won the Democratic primary in the 1st Congressional District of Missouri against the incumbent member Cori Bush. The campaign was the most expensive Democratic primary in the United States that year. The decisive issue, ladies and gentlemen of this committee, was Israel. My constituents, the working people of South Street, Louis, of Ferguson, of the city of University City, they sent me to Washington. They were tired, sir. Tired of being told that the Democratic Party of Street Louis cannot be both pro-civil rights and pro-Israel. Tired of being told that black voters in the state of Missouri were not allowed to support Jewish students at Washington University in Street Louis. Tired of having one of their own, the daughter of a hospital chaplain at Street Louis University Hospital, told that she was pro-genocide because she wore a Star of David on her backpack. I am the 2nd black Democrat from the state of Missouri to be sent to the United States Congress, Mr. Chairman. I am here because the working people of my district, my mother, who is a hairdresser at the Hair Express on West Florissant Avenue, my father, who is a retired postal carrier, my younger brother, who is a public school music teacher in University City. They decided in August of 2024 that the rhetorical line between solidarity with the Palestinian people and incitement against an American Jewish college freshman had become, and I am using their language, sir, not mine, too thin to walk. He turned. He faced Ilhan Omar. Madame Congresswoman, I am not your enemy, ma'am. I am not a Republican. I voted against the Vice President's confirmation in 2025. I voted against the Trump budget. I will vote against most of what the majority proposes for the rest of this term. But the words on Sarah Edelman's dorm room door, Madam Congresswoman, they were not your words. But they used your words for license. I am asking you, ma'am, before this hearing ends, to look at Rabbi Edelman just one time, and to acknowledge what you cannot fix. He paused. Omar did not turn. Mr. Chairman, I yield with sorrow. He sat down. Chairman Walberg recognized the next member. The chair recognizes, on a point of personal privilege, the gentleman from the state of New York, Congressman Richie Torres. For 1 minute, Representative Richie Torres stood up from the 5th row of the observer seats. He was 38 years old. He wore a dark suit, a small Puerto Rican flag pin, and a small American flag pin. He had been on Twitter, on X, and on every social media platform available to him, asking for the line to be drawn since November of 2020. Mr. Chairman, thank you, sir. I am a Democrat. I represent the 15th Congressional District of the state of New York, the South Bronx. I voted against the Vice President's confirmation. I voted against the Trump budget. I have voted against most of what the majority has proposed in this Congress. I was raised in public housing, Mr. Chairman, the Throgs Neck houses in the East Bronx. My mother is a hairdresser. I was raised by a single Puerto Rican mother in a neighborhood where in 1995, when I was 7 years old, the median household income was $12,400 per year. I am, by every demographic identity you could draw on a Democratic primary mailer, sir, a member of every category Madame Congresswoman would normally want to claim as standing with her. I am Latino. I am gay. I am Catholic. I was raised poor by an immigrant single mother in a neighborhood the rest of New York City had forgotten. He paused. I am not standing with her this morning. He turned. He faced Omar. Madam Congresswoman, with respect, ma'am, I have been on every public platform available to me since the year 2020, asking the Progressive Caucus, to which you belong and to which I do not belong, to draw the line clearly, publicly, on the record, between solidarity with the Palestinian people and the dehumanization of American Jews. I have been calling for that line for 6 years. On the 25th of April 2024, Ma'am, you crossed it. Pro-genocide Jewish students, anti-genocide Jewish students. Madame Congresswoman, in the South Bronx where I grew up, we did not divide the Jewish kids on the corner of East Tremont Avenue and Boston Road into pro-genocide and anti-genocide. We just called them the Jewish kids. They walked to school, they went to synagogue, their grandfathers fixed our radios, their mothers taught us math. The taxonomy you applied on a sidewalk in Manhattan on the 25th of April 2024 was not a taxonomy, Mom. It was a license. I yield, Mr. Chairman. He sat. Rayburn 2175 was silent. A black Democrat from Missouri who beat a squad member in the most expensive Democratic primary in America in 2024. A Latino Democrat from the Bronx, gay, Catholic, who was raised in public housing by a single immigrant mother. Both of them, on the record, on C-SPAN, refused to defend her. If you have been waiting your entire life to see what political courage looks like across party, across race, across faith, across geography, turn on your notifications and subscribe right now, because this is only the beginning. The departure. Chairman Wahlberg, Mr. Shapiro, you have 3 minutes for closing remarks. Ben Shapiro slowed. He did not stand. A witness sits. Madame Congresswoman, I am going to do something the gentleman from the Bronx asked you to do, Ma'am. And I want you to forgive me for it, because I think it is the only thing left in me to do at the end of this morning. He breathed. I want you to know, Ma'am, that I see you. I know you came to this country in 1995 at the age of 12. I know your mother died in Mogadishu when you were 2 years old. I know what the Dadaab refugee camp looked like in the spring of 1993. I know what your father did to bring you out of it. I know what Cedar Riverside felt like in your first winter in Minneapolis in the December of 1995, in a one-bedroom apartment without running water. I know. I am the great-grandson of refugees, Ma'am. My great-grandmother, Anna Shapiro, born in Wawa, Poland, in 1898, died at Treblinka in October of 1942 with 8 of her cousins. My grandfather Daniel was born in the Bronx, 6 blocks from where Congressman Torres was raised. He taught me to chant the Shema when I was 4 years old. My wife Moore, sitting in row 3, seat 4 behind me, was raised in Tel Aviv. Her father served in the Six-Day War of June, 1967. She is a doctor at Vanderbilt today because her parents got on a plane in 1972. We share a refugee inheritance, Madam Congresswoman, you and I. He paused. But the inheritance, Ma'am, comes with a duty. The duty is precision. The duty is to remember that the words we use in public on a Manhattan sidewalk, on a Twitter feed, on a CARE podium, on a ZTO town hall do not stay where we say them. They travel. On the morning of the 9th of October, 2023, Ma'am, your words traveled to a stained glass window in Street Lewis Park, Minnesota. On the 28th of April, 2024, your words traveled to a freshman dorm room door at John Jay Hall. On the 11th of September, 2025, 12 hours after Charlie Kirk's body was carried out of Utah Valley University on a stretcher, your words traveled to a ZTO town hall where you described the men and women who said Charlie Kirk wanted civil debate as, in your words, full of expletive. Words travel, Ma'am. He stopped. The machine gun rhythm was gone. Per Pirkei Avot, chapter 2:5. Be chassid in your actions, but never assume the role of judge over a fellow's heart. I am not judging your heart, Ma'am. I cannot. I would not. He paused. I am, however, pointing, with the chair's permission, at the trail your words have left behind them, on a telegram channel, on a Manhattan dorm room door, on a stained glass window in Street Louis Park. 3 seconds. You didn't throw the bricks, Madam Congresswoman. You painted the targets. 3 more seconds. I yield, Mr. Chairman. The phone on Ilhan Omar's dais vibrated 4 times in succession, then a 5th, then a 6th. She did not look. She stood up. She tried to fight. Mr. Chairman, I will not be lectured by Valberg Havel at once. I am the only Somali American in this Congress. I have spent 7 years, 2 gavels. She tried her old move. Mr. Chairman, I am reclaiming my time. Wahlberg, Madam Congresswoman. With respect, Ma'am, the witness has yielded back his time. The minority-s questioning round has expired. The chair is going to ask the ranking member of this committee, the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Scott, whether the minority has any objection to a motion to suspend further questioning of the witness for the remainder of this morning. He looked at Bobby Scott. Bobby Scott, silent the entire morning. The senior Democrat in the room, the dean of African American legislators in the United States House of Representatives, did not stand to defend her. He said in a voice that the C-SPAN microphones almost did not catch, Mr. Chairman, the minority has no objection to the chair's discretion. Ilhan Omar turned slowly toward the senior Democrat. He did not turn back. She turned toward Greg Casar, the chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, sitting at the far end of the dais. Casar was looking at his hands. She turned toward Rashida Tlaib in the 3rd row of observer seats, her closest friend in this Congress, the woman she had eaten iftar with every Ramadan for 7 years. Rashida was looking at the table. The phone on the dais vibrated. Ilhan Omar picked it up, looked at the screen, set it back down, face down. The phone vibrated again. She did not lift it. She said very quietly enough that the C-SPAN microphones almost did not catch it, I yield. Wahlberg tapped his gavel once, very gently. The witness yields. The chair thanks Mr. Shapiro and Rabbi Edelman. The committee will recess for 30 minutes. When the committee returned, the dais where Representative Omar had been sitting was empty. She had left through the side door of Rayburn 2175, alone, without speaking to a single reporter in the hallway, without issuing a statement, without looking back at the room she had walked out of. The phone was still on the dais, face down, vibrating intermittently. A staff aide named Margaret Conway turned the phone off at 1243 that afternoon, after the afternoon panel had concluded. She placed the phone in a manila envelope and walked it to Representative Omar's Cannon office building suite. Nobody answered the door. Even her own Progressive Caucus chair would not turn his head. Even Rashida would not look up from the table. If you have been waiting your entire adult life to see what real accountability looks like, across party lines, across faith, across the public record on C-SPAN, subscribe and turn on your notifications right now. Because next week, another hearing room, another truth. The aftermath, somewhere on Highway 100 inches Street, Lewis Park, Minnesota. At 5:38 that afternoon Central Time, Rabbi David Edelman pulled into the parking lot of Beth Jacob Congregation. The 6 new stained glass windows, replaced in March of 2024 through the Anti-Defamation League's Emergency Restoration Grant Program, caught the afternoon sun the way the originals had caught it in the spring of 1968 when his father had commissioned them. He sat in the car for 2 minutes. He did not cry. He had cried in October of 2023. He had not cried since. Somewhere on Amsterdam Avenue at 186th Street, in the Washington Heights neighborhood of Upper Manhattan, at 6:51 that evening Eastern Time, Sarah Edelman closed her organic chemistry textbook in the 3rd-floor study room of Wilf Lasker Hall at Yeshiva University. Her father had texted her from a parking lot in Street Lewis Park. She did not text back. She walked to the campus Hillel Center for evening prayer. There were 47 students at evening minyan. She sat in the 3rd row on the women's side of the Mekitzah. She prayed. Somewhere on West 166th Street in the South Bronx, at 7:04 that evening Eastern Time, Richie Torres walked into the Throg's Neck houses to visit his mother. She made him arroz con habichuelas. She did not ask about the hearing. She did ask whether he had eaten lunch. He had not. He ate 2 helpings. Somewhere on Lindbergh Boulevard in the city of Florissant, Missouri, at 6:28 that evening Central Time, Wesley Bell pulled into the parking lot of Street Louis University High School, where his son Davis was at junior varsity basketball practice. He sat in the car. He read the 8th verse of the 8th chapter of the book of Micah on his phone. The verse that says, "What does the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God?" Then he put the phone away. He went inside. Somewhere on Bell Boulevard in Nashville, Tennessee, at 7:51 that evening Central Time, 11 minutes before sundown, Ben Shapiro walked through the front door of his house. His daughter, Leah, 14 years old, in the middle of her 10th grade Talmud homework, looked up. "Daddy, you tired?" Shapiro said, "A little, kiddo." More came out of the kitchen. The challah on the dining room table was covered with the white cloth Moore's mother had embroidered for them as a wedding gift in 2008. Sabbath would begin at 8:02. He kissed his wife. She said in Hebrew, "Hayatov." "Was it good?" Shapiro said, "Ken, Hayatov." "Yes, it was good." He went to wash. He came back. Leah struck the match. She lit the Sabbath candles. Within 72 hours, Connor McNutt, the chief of staff to Representative Ilhan Omar, resigned. His statement, distributed at 6:08 a.m. Eastern on the morning of Saturday, the 21st of March, did not mention the hearing. Within a week, the Wall Street Journal published a follow-up investigation under the headline, "Omar Family Disclosure Discrepancy Reaches, FEC Office of General Counsel." The Federal Election Commission's ENS Enforcement Division formally opened a matter under review on the 23rd of March 2026. Within a week, Representative Greg Casar, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, appeared on NBC's Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. Welker asked him whether the caucus would defend Representative Omar. Casar said the caucus does not have a position on Ms. Edelman's testimony. He did not name Sarah. He did not name Rabbi Edelman. He spoke for 14 minutes. He did not name anyone. Within 2 weeks, Sarah Edelman returned to Columbia University at the personal invitation of new Columbia President Katrina Armstrong to participate in a campus dialogue program on free expression and religious safety. Sarah spoke for 12 minutes. Her father flew to New York and sat in the back row. He did not introduce himself. Within a month, 6 members of the House Democratic Caucus joined Representative Burgess Owens of Utah and Representative Wesley Bell of Missouri as primary co-sponsors of the Bipartisan Member Code of Conduct Reform Act of 2026. The bill required real-time public disclosure of social media reposts by any member of the United States House of Representatives, codified the existing House Rule 23 ethics provisions, and authorized the House Office of Congressional Conduct to subpoena communications evidence in incitement-related complaints. The bill passed the Education and Workforce Committee on the 14th of May by a vote of 28-6. Within 3 months, The Ben Shapiro Show on Daily Wire reached the #1 position on the Apple Podcasts platform during the first week of its release of the Hearing Day episode. Subscribers to Daily Wire ad-free increased 14% quarter-over-quarter. Within 6 months, on the 11th of September 2026, the 25th anniversary of the attacks, Sarah Edelman published an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal under the title "What I Learned in My Dorm," 2,748 words. She signed it with her full name. Her father read it aloud at the Beth Jacob Congregation High Holy Days Gala on the second night of Rosh Hashanah. Beth Jacob Congregation received approximately $190,000 in unsolicited donations in the 10 days following the hearing. Rabbi Edelman used the funds to commission 3 additional stained glass windows for the east-facing wall of the sanctuary. The first was a memorial panel for his father, Rabbi Solomon Edelman, of blessed memory. The second was a memorial panel for Rabbi Solomon's mother, Anna Edelman of Mowawa, Poland, of blessed memory. The third was inscribed at the bottom with 3 Hebrew words, Lo Nishkach, we will not forget. The verdict: if you made it this far, thank you. 3 things before you close this video. 1. Hit that like button. YouTube shows this video to more people when you do, and more Americans, working Americans, forgotten Americans, Americans who have spent 7 years watching what you just watched, Need to hear what happened in Rayburn 2175 this morning. To comment the word accountability below. One word, accountability. Because this morning, in the most watched committee hearing of the 119th Congress, somebody finally showed us what the word actually looks like. Comment accountability now. 3. Subscribe and turn on notifications because next week, another hearing, another politician, another truth that has been waiting its turn. God bless Rabbi David Edelman of St. Louis Park, Minnesota. God bless his daughter Sarah, 19 years old, who finished her freshman spring semester from a bedroom in her parents' house because somebody in a Manhattan dorm room had decided she belonged on a list. God bless Rabbi Solomon Edelman of blessed memory, who walked out of Auschwitz on the morning of the 27th of January, 1945 at the age of 11, and who chanted the Shema every morning of his life until the day he passed in 2019. God bless his mother Anna Edelman of Mława, Poland, of blessed memory, and the 8 cousins who did not walk out of Treblinka. God bless Congressman Wesley Bell of Missouri, who told the truth this morning about a sister he and his constituents have known for 10 years. God bless Congressman Richie Torres of the Bronx, who has been calling for the line for 6 years and who lived to see it drawn. And God bless every American in every forgotten zip code of this country who has ever waited a generation to see an elected official asked on the record, in a public room with the cameras rolling, simply to explain why her words ended up on the wall of a synagogue. The gavel fell. The room emptied. The phone went silent. And the words she used in public finally caught up with her.